Start recording. It is a day. It is a day. It is a day at Dodo Studios. As we tend so much to start our days at here in Toontown. It is a day at Dodo Studios. Gil, do me a favor and roll stealth since we all know where you're at.
Let's see, I think that's a +2. Let me double check before I roll. Yeah, that is a +2. Oh, that's wonderful. That's a 17.
Oh, Gil, that is wonderful. But unfortunately, Bond's passive perception is a 19. So Gil, you're so sneaky. You're so sneaky, Gil. You are so sneaky.
Not even the owls who would normally try to escort Gil to Bond's office noticed how he slipped away this time.
Yep. But you skitter through the vents like some sort of demented weasel. And as you go to prop open the vent, on the other side, someone takes it from you before you can even lay hand to it. And Bon opens the vent, and they look at you, and they're like, "Good morning, Gil. I see you've decided to take the vent today. I see it's a vent day."
Hi. Dang it. Ugh. I wanted to surprise you.
One of these days, kid. Bon at this point has probably invested in some sort of like sticky majig that they just have stuck to the wall that they can just prop the vent open with. So they just prop the vent open and you can skitter on out freely.
And Gil will coming down from the vent. He's wearing a dark orange winter peat coat, and underneath is his now classic orange turtleneck and grayish purple pants.
And you skitter on out of the vents, and Bon has taken a few steps back to give you plenty of room to go splat. And they sort of give you a amused look, and they're like, "So it's not exactly our usual time for an appointment. What's got you going, kid?"
Well, Bonlock and I were talking the other day, actually yesterday, and we came across a conundrum. I couldn't remember all the ways that tunes become tunes. What way do you think Bonlock became a tune? What's that called? I thought you would know.
And Bon sort of pauses. There is a brief moment of consideration where Bon is like, "You were trying to figure out how tunes were made. Oh dear. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. This is fine.
Well,
we can have that talk later."
I know tunes are made by birth, by stork, by demonic summoning. There's also manifestation, which is really just weird. They just pop into existence. It's really weird.
Well, Bonlock is a bit of a more unusual case, because based on what I've been told and what I can observe, Bonlock definitely was someone who started as a like Bonlock has said, a wind-up automatonic type of being, and over time, and presumably exposure to like magic and tunes are partly made out of wishes and will and all of that fun jazz. And whenever you presumably have been exposed by people who have very strong wills and wishes of others and themselves, it can warp things past their usual creation and their usual purpose. So Bonlock has become a tune. Presumably can do all of the tunish things. And
Gil is listening very closely. He's like staring at Bon with interested eyes, and he has a big grin on his face.
I will say Bonlock is an unusual case in the fact of has Bonlock told you anything about his heart?
Well, Gil just looks away for a moment and then looks back to Bon. I know it was created by what was that inventor's name? I know it. I can't remember right now.
It was some Hassan fellow?
Yes.
Yeah, we're on the same page on that at least. If you get a name, just tell me when you remember, but we both know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, at first, what Bonlock said the other day, because we were just talking about it, I don't remember how we got on that topic. It was just weird. He said at first he was a wind-up, a music box. And I know a little bit about that. But whenever his wind-up ran out, he'd just have to start all over again. And that was until the inventor, Drawson? Is that his name? Drawson? The inventor created this soul-like contraption, and that's what his heart is.
And Bon nods to that. They sort of do a cupping motion in front of them and summon like a spark of their holy magic, so it makes sort of this floating green orb, and it turns into a bird skull, and they sort of pause for a moment and they say, so it's not just a soul-like contraption, of course. In my line of work and my teachings, even if it is Bonlock's soul. Now, not so much the heart itself, but Bonlock has a soul, and it is in the heart. As whenever you brought Bonlock to me, you had the heart in a velvet bag, right?
Yeah, I thought that was the best place to put it. Keep it safe.
And it was. But the fabric outside of Bonlock's heart is in a way the velvet bag for what contains Bunlock's soul. And it is Bunlock's soul, and Bunlock is a toon. And I don't have the exact phrase right now for the process. Bunlock would have undergone a sort of toonification in a natural process for Bunlock rather than any sort of artificially induced process, presumably, because it is Bunlock as Bunlock is comfortable as Bunlock. And so for your purview, Bunlock is a rubber hose toon, based off of art style and observation. I mean, what is it exactly you want to know here, kid? Have I answered your question, or am I missing the mark?
Well, I know there's a process to it because I've heard about other toons that did not used to be toons but became toons through some sort of, and he starts waving his hands around, not really helpfully, some sort of process. Like, oh, Rad didn't used to be a toon, but Rad is a toon now.
It's honestly, Rad is a very similar case to Bunlock, because of the fact that neither of them started as a toon, but they were both cared for and became a person, became a toon properly. And I do know of a few different ways a non-toon person can become a toon, some of which involve some quote-unquote dark forbidden magics.
Maybe that's how Jay became one.
And Bon tilts her head to the side, like an owl does. And like looks at Gil and does sort of a chittering noise in Iran. Not really anything except sort of a like thinking noise. And they're like, Jay. You mentioned Jay.
Yes, Jay and Cart. My
And
ex
Bon's just, it's one of those situations. I see. Do I have to worry about you getting shanked by Jay?
No. He actually showed up back then apparently because he still cared about me. And Gil gives a little shake. Oh, jeez, Louise.
And Bon just is like, yeah, okay, that's good. In the fashion of, I don't have to worry about you getting shanked by someone else, and he's not angry at you. So, yeah, did Jay tell you this himself, or did you find this out through some sort of plot-related shenanery?
Oh, Jay told me, because we were drinking at a bar.
It's one of those moments where it's like, if Bon was a toon, there'd be a ... above their head, but they're not. So there's just a brief pause. And they're like, oh, how did Gil Treble, infamous ne'er-do-well, do getting drunk?
What? Have fun getting drunk. Don't shame me.
Kid, and
I'm not a kid.
Bon
I'm an
actually,
adult.
Bon actually, well, they start at that, but they actually go into their desk and they pull open in the bottom left-hand drawer, in the very, very back, there is a bottle of something that you aren't sure is Toon alcohol or real kind alcohol, but it definitely has a label just labeled XXX on it.
Which is Toon's sign for this is alcohol.
And they just stick it back in a drawer, and they give sort of the like rolling of the eyes at you, and they're like, "Kid, I'm calling you kid because first of all," and they lean over and they very lightly boop you on the nose, because I'm older than you, kid, and I'm taller than you. So I can call you whatever I want because I don't call just anybody kid, first of all. I can name probably on one hand the amount of people I call kid. It's a real kid affectionate versus kid derogatory. And they just sort of like lean back and they're like, so you have accumulated a club of fellow adult kids who used to not be Toons and now are Toons.
Well, Rad's not an adult.
We both know what Rad would look like as an adult.
That was hilarious. Bob really chewed me out for that one.
Oh, he probably had a at least half decent reason. I don't know. Maybe it was. Does your friend Jay need any and Bond just sort of waggly of the fingers. Does your friend need a checkup or anything? Is this something?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, he's been here for 8 years, and apparently that's how long he's been a Toon. It's pretty wild that I didn't know for the 5 years that I knew him.
Gil, and Bond sort of gives you like it's a real sort of just like a real oh honey look. And they very carefully reach over and like lightly ruffle your hair, Gil.
Hey, I'm gonna have
Gil,
to brush that.
Gil, you are many things, but observant you are not always.
Well.
Alright, enough about Bondlock, enough about Jay, enough about that. How is Gil Trouble doing?
Kind of, his tail swishes back and forth behind him. And he looks down, and then he looks back up at Bon. Better.
That's good.
I talked to Sammy, and Chifley.
And they didn't shank you?
No, although Chifley did somehow put me to sleep and then tied me up and then threatened me with his spear.
I'm gonna have Bon roll something. Let's see how this holds out. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's probably gonna beat Gil's insight.
I mean,
you can roll insight.
I'm rolling. Yeah, that's a 9 minus 2.
Yeah. No, Gil, you don't notice anything. As Bon slowly ruffles their feathers out and makes themselves bigger as they listen to you explain what Chifley did. And then they slowly smooth.
I mean, he did try to attack me later, but that was something completely different.
And Chifley's one of those cleric kids, right?
Yeah. I touched his back, and I think what Sammy said was that was a trigger sort of thing. So he didn't even recognize who I was, where he was, sort of deal. But he didn't actually hurt me.
Bon has like very slowly sort of been like wrapping, like they aren't wrapping their wings around you, but it is very much Bon is standing with their back to the window and they have their wings sort of flared out. So no one can see you, Gil. You are hidden. I don't know if you would notice that because it would probably fall under an insight thing.
I think that actually would be specifically perception.
Yeah.
To see if they're to notice. And that's an 18 because I rolled a 17 and Gil has his glasses on always. He just kind of glances.
Yeah. Bon has effectively hidden you, Gil. You are hidden. Even if someone had walked into Bon's office and stood behind Bon, they would not see you because their wings are like that outstretched and that big, and they are bodily putting themselves in the way of anyone noticing you. That's just something, I would say probably because you rolled so high, that's probably something you notice because of who you are and what you tend to do. And so you just have that piece of information as Bon with their 18 deception does not give a less than sparkling review of the information they have on Chifley. Because they do not have a very sparkling review of Chifley, I'm gonna be real. And they don't exactly have a great one of Sammy either, but that's fine. That's a problem for someone else. Well, some other time at least. It's fine though. Bon gave nothing away. This is what they do, baby. They lie.
Gil's gonna actually take a step closer to Bon, making it a little easier for Bon to hide him. And he's gonna continue by saying, and Well, after that, I took a nap because, well, I pretty much exasperated myself. Um, by saying the magic words.
Oh, echo.
I was really tired for 2 days straight. And after that is when I went drinking.
God's above and below, kid.
It's really weird how the narrative has always kept making Jay show up wherever I decide to do my schemes. It's how we met.
Kids and gods and the meddling of deities. It's like that, kid.
Oh, I almost ran him over with a stolen carriage.
Excellent. Sometimes you just have to have a nice crime before you go drinking with ex-nemesis, apparently. I'll keep that in mind.
No, that's how I met him the first time.
Oh my God, kid. And Bon has sort of like put a hand on their face and they're laughing a little. Just in a very fond way.
He just kind of showed up at the bar where I was drinking.
Oh gosh. But you're doing better.
Yeah, I talked to them. That's cleared the air, and I talked to Sandy and explained that what I said wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
So she wouldn't think that all heroes are bad and all villains are good, because that's a bad perception.
Well, it seems that Sandy inadvertently has found herself surrounded by some not very good people doing good things, so...
Well, I told her I wasn't really a villain anymore.
Bon makes a quiet, inquisitive noise at that. And gods damn it, they've been giving me this imagery in my head. They carefully reach over, and they tuck some of your hair like behind your ear, Gil. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "So you aren't a villain anymore?"
No, I'm an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
It still feels weird to say.
Well, I regret to inform you, kid, but change is a part of life, and it's not. You don't have to really change anything. Villains and anti-heroes and heroes. I've already said my piece about how it's all just people at the end of the day. You're still Gil Treble. You can still do crime and still do whatever you want. It just means at the end of the day, you know that there are people out there who are worse than silly little Gil Treble, and they deserve to have their faces smashed in.
Silly. I'm not silly.
You're one of the
offended look on his face.
Oh, Bon leans over and kind of like bunts their head into yours, Gil. And then they sort of straighten back up and they're like, you're kidding, right? You are one of the most mischievous little bastards I've ever seen running around.
Of course I am. It's being the mischievous villain who schemes to one day take over the world is something that I've done since I was 6.
Gods, I don't know why you would want to take over the world, kid. The world's a mess. You know what that is? You know what that is, Gil? That's just a bunch of responsibility that you take one look at and you're like, well, this sucks. You're stuck with it.
I don't know, all the villains on the movies always wanted to take over the world. They seem to really want to, so I thought I'd just do that instead of being nothing.
Bond's gonna roll insight on that, I feel. Because who the fuck has been telling Gil that he is nothing? Yeah, that's a 23. It's just like, excuse me, who the fuck?
Gil looks very uncomfortable when he says nothing, and he kind of just, instead of how he'd been postured, he kind of curls in on himself a little bit, and his hand moves to press against where his scar is. That's what you get from an insight. You're gonna have to actually ask.
Yeah. Okay, the first thing Bond does is, in a fashion that is very calm and making sure Gil can see their hands almost the entire time, Bond very carefully takes Gil into a hug. And they hug you, Gil, and squish you sort of like against their chest. Like they're partly like crouching / leaning over, but they have put you into an embrace, and their wings are wrapped around you now, and they are very soft and very warm. And on takes a moment and sort of rubs your back, Gil. And they say, Gil, I don't know whoever got it into their thick brain skull that you are nothing and that you need to do the things that you've done in order to be something. But you're kind of full of a crock of shit. And I don't know. Gil, I don't have words that you probably need, except for if I ever meet whoever told you this sort of thing and beat that thought into your head. Well, there's a very, very, very good reason that I work in a studio as a healer, and on is just like, there's a very quiet, chittering sort of building. And you know my god, right? It's a god of death.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about gods. Besides, I guess, Prismatone and the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. And Bon sort of like nuzzles their face into the side of your head, Gil, because it's just soft hours for Gil with Bon, I guess. They're like Aestes is the god of is one of the gods of death, specifically revered in the elemental plane of air by Arakakras. One of the fun things that they have found to like to do is to find those who have committed heinous crimes and point at them and very dramatically list out their sins and make them beg to repent. It's very fun to see in action whenever you're not the one being very dramatically pointed at. Because Gil, this shit just don't fly with this bird. Because you're mine, in the fashion of you don't. No one gets to call you that. You aren't nothing.
It's not that they called me that, it's that after they found out I couldn't sing, I was nothing to them.
There's something really quiet. Oh my god. That's a +4, right?
+4 for what?
Yeah, whiz save.
Yep, you had a +4.
Yeah, okay, that's good because that's fucking 9 plus 11. Just Bon is holding you very soft and very tender. Is holding you very soft and very tender, but I don't know if you want to roll insight because Gil, you're a little distracted.
I'll roll insight, but we all know how well that goes.
Yeah.
-2.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, that's a 14. Because that's 16 minus 2.
Yeah, at the very least, Gil, you understand that Bon is mad on your behalf. In sort of a very protective fashion. But they don't stop hugging you gently and softly and warmly. They do pull away ever so slightly to rub their forehead against yours again.
Gil just
and then like
he is used to this, but it's still weird for him when Bon does that.
Mm-hmm. Which, it's Bon hasn't done this to this many people in a long time. So it's been a bit of a learning curve, but like it's just affection. My good dude, this is just one of the ways they show affection and they cannot help this. They're a simple bird. They're like Gil Trouble cannot sing and wow, your family sounds like a piece of work, kid.
Well, you remember how I tried to sing in the park, right?
That wasn't the worst thing I've ever heard, kid. It wasn't bad.
Gil kind of makes a face. That's not
God's
the thing
kid.
you've ever heard. I don't want to hear what you've heard.
Let's hope you don't. God's kid. I can't imagine someone deciding someone isn't worth their time because they can't do some sort of arbitrary talent.
Well, when you come from a whole line of bards who all have some sort of musical talent. Kind of expected to have some sort of musical talent when you don't.
Blah. Boring. Just boring.
Oh, that's
I
why
can't
I don't
believe
have that last name anymore.
That's 100% valid, kiddo. Gosh, I can't believe such a blase group of people could ever have someone like you. Because I suppose it's the theory of eventually, after enough tries, statistics must reign, and something good has to come out of a load of trash. Just Bon gives you like a final squeeze in the hug, and they slowly pull away, partly because they don't want to make Gil uncomfortable for holding this hug out for too long. But
he has gotten uncomfortable in the past.
Yeah. But they don't like step away really too far. They let Gil essentially make whatever space he wants to feel comfortable again.
He just kind of steps back a little bit and straightens himself out.
All right. So, I don't know, kid. We've had the feelings talk. We've had the friends talk. Gil trouble. You. Oh gosh. Just look at all these people I've found myself in the company of.
It's funny.
What is it you said earlier about the plot and narrators and all that?
Gil just kind of looks up to the sky towards the fourth wall and goes, "Yeah, they're certainly there. And sometimes I can hear them."
Alright, Gil Trouble, do you want to go break into the break room, vending machines and steal something?
Ooh, yes! Have they gotten new snacks from last time?
Yes, for once they have actually gotten new snacks from last time. No more birdseed. And I don't know. Do you want to have them go break in? Do we want to end it here, or do we want to continue with the shenanery of them going to go break in to the fucking vending machine?
You know, let's continue. Shenanigans.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna roll stealth.
Please roll stealth. Please roll stealth. Let's see how this goes.
17 plus 2. That's a 19.
Is he wearing his armor?
No, he's not.
Okay.
I did specifically describe at the top him wearing his dark orange peak coat.
Yeah.
Like made of wool.
19, 19 technically beats Bond's passive, but probably because they know Gille is supposed to be there, it kind of defeats the point of the stealth for Bon, at least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real, Chief. I don't think anyone else has a passive of 19. Let's just so Gil, Bon leads the way out of their office, and they very, you do your cool slip into the shadows or whatever, and Bon
the
just
only thing that can be seen of Gil is his glowing orange eyes.
Yep. And Bon just goes through the motions of like shutting their door and flipping the sign that says they aren't in after like leaving their lights on because they're going to be back. And they're doing that thing where you just very casually stroll down the hallway, because just because Bon knows they're going to go steal doesn't mean they have to be suspicious. This is kind of like the neutral floor, so there probably is like a vending machine sort of like down the hallway. The lock probably has like lockpick marks, not just from Gil, probably from like some of the other ne'er-do-wells of the studio who do absolutely just break in and maybe leave money sometimes, but it's essentially just a fancy snack table at this point.
Just something to tide them over until Marcel cooks lunch or dinner.
Yeah, it's like whenever you have like the cat toys where it's got the food inside and they have to play with it to get the food out. It's like that. Let's be real. So Bon goes to stand in front of it, but they stand like a few steps back farther than normal to give you space to slip in like in front of them and just start picking the lock.
Yeah. Gil pulls his lockpicks from his pocket, and now I'm gonna roll sleight of hand. It's just proficiency plus dex. That's +5. 7 plus 5.
Do you think a 12 would do it?
I mean, well, if it's been lockpicked many times, it depends on if someone has come and updated the lock or not.
They probably change the locks out every once in a while just to like give people like a pause. I feel like I was honestly gonna make the DC like a freaking 13.
So Gil starts muttering Grolix under his breath as he tries to get the lockpicks into place. Oh, they've changed it since last time.
Bond gives a quiet snort of laughter, and they start almost pointedly like punching in numbers, like to fuck with Gil. Like, oh, you're taking too long. Let's just get it the normal way.
No, I don't have any gold. That's even worse.
Oh, the teasing has gotten to Gil. Bond just like plonks their chin down on Gil's head and is just like, I think I still have a packet of birdseed in my office if you really want something.
No. There's moon pies here with that. That's still a 6. God damn it.
Just roll with advantage. Bon is giving sort of encouragement.
That was had advantage because I rolled a 3 next. Wow, my dice really
Oh my
hate
god. I'm gonna have like I don't think is proficient in thieves' tools. No, they aren't.
me.
So what would it be for them to just straight up roll?
Your dexterity, probably sleight of hand. If Bon has
So
sleight of hand, but otherwise just your dexterity.
mm-hmm. And Bon reaches around Gil and sort of like takes the thieves' tools from him, and they're like, "Don't get hot-headed on me now, kiddo." And they're gonna.
His hair is starting to put out little wisps and embers as he fumes and mutters under his breath and growlix.
And considering Bon is pressed against him and Bon is covered in sort of oily feathers, let's not set the bird on fire. So they're gonna give it a shot, if only to give Gil a second to chill. Okay, yeah, that's a 17. So they take the thieves' tools from Gil, and they've got their head like resting on top of his. And they just very calmly, like, they do sort of like the like moving at a timed pace as they are sort of like pressed against Gil to sort of like chill, Gil. And they just pick the lock. And the door just goes quick. Just very quietly. And it's unlocked. And they tuck the thieves' tools back into his hands.
Yeah, he stashes it back into his pocket and then opens the door and takes 2 cosmic brownies, a moon pie, it's like an astral swirl sort of thing. Like something that was probably put in there for Short's kid or Snailian.
Bon reaches up to like the top shelf that Gil can't reach, and pulls down like a thing of like probably just like a straight up chocolate bar. There's probably like a package of cookies, and then probably like a package of candy that's some sort of Luca brand ripoff. And then a pack of gum. And they hand them all down to Gil.
And he predictably puts all of them save the moon pie into his hammer space, so into his pockets.
How do you roll to relock something? How does that work?
If I think dexterity is, I have to roll hammer space because Gil's the one with the tools. Thieves' tools.
I mean, Bon at that point, I think for just rule of funny, can we just say Bon shuts the door again, and then they reach into their pocket and pull out their keys.
Yes!
And they have a key for the vending machine. And they just lock the vending machine again and put their keys back, just nonplussed.
Yes!
So yeah, Bon just straight up, like, very gently, like, pushes the door back shut and locks the door and put the keys back, and they're like, all right, kid, let's take our ill-gotten gains back to my office, okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to roll stealth again?
Yes! That's another 19.
Yay! have to ask, does Gil start eating his moon pie on the way back?
Yes.
So only heard by Bon, ever so faintly, is the sound of like moon pie wrapper crinkling noises as Gil is eating his moon pie.
Yep.
He was just hangry, everyone. Gil needed snack so he didn't get angry.
And I think that's a good place to leave off.
Yes, that's an excellent place to leave off. Just them happily walking down the hallway, like, you know, absolutely just having done a crime.
Thank you for joining us for a Sign of the Crimes.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.